Oh, come on, not another crate! Hello everybody, today I have something new since I'm going to use the first poison type in the channel, a Gen 3 original nonetheless. Like for Spoink in the last week's video, Gulpin is one of the least known Pokémons in the franchise. This time it's probably for a good reason though. Its design is uninspired and the stats are pretty bad. The only silver lining is the move pool, since it has access to a couple of unexpected moves like Ice Beam and Shockwave. The rules are the same as in every other video, only use Gulpin in combat, can't use any items in combat, no cheats or glitches, and no boosting evasion in any way. I chose the rush nature, which is a questionable decision. I expected to use a lot of special attacks in the endgame, so that's why I wanted to boost special attack, but maybe I should have lowered something else. This time we start with an actual move, so we can defeat the first Zigzagoon to earn a little bit of experience. For the first fight against May, I wanted to level up a bit so that Gulpin gets Yawn. She is not that strong, so I would have defeated her anyway. I gave her Mudkip because later, when she evolves it in Marshtomp, it will be a big challenge. Gulping has the fluctuating experience growth, which is definitely fluctuating as you can see on screen. This is also the fastest growth for the start of the game, so we reach the Team Aqua Grant at a higher level than usual, and therefore he is quite easy to take down. In a couple more levels, we will also get Sludge, which is a very good move for this point in the game, but not for Roxanne, since she resists it. Thankfully, just outside the forest, we can grab the Bullet Seed TM. I was somewhat surprised that Gulpin could learn it, but it came in clutch, since now we have the tool to defeat the Rock Gym leader. Since the Geodudes are 4 times weak to it, they melt like butter, but the Nosepass is not as easy. This time though, Bullet Seed has 4000 IQ, hitting her 3 times to lower her HP, and then a whole 5 to bypass berry, potions and all the rest. She barely even falls asleep from the yawn. I must say that it went quite well. After the first gym, we have to save Pico from the Team Aqua Grant. At this point, I learned Sludge, so this fight was very easy. Moving on. After we defused the situation, it's time to start the optional May fight. She turned out to be not as easy as you might expect, mostly because of her lead. I don't have much for Torkoal. The only special move is a resisted, and the sludge is a physical. If that was not bad enough, it also uses Course a bunch of times to increase his defense, but at least does not use any physical moves against me. Mudkip is not ground type yet, so Sludge is neutral and can make quick work of him. With May defeated again, we can take on the next gym. While I don't have much offense, I resist Brawly's fighting moves, so I thought this fight would be easy. It wasn't really the case. His Pokémons have decent physical defense, so they lead my attacks and can chip me down a bit. Meritite also uses Reflect, which is quite bad for me, but at least I get good poison luck to mitigate it. I know Makuhita is a tick, so I used Yawn to put it to sleep, so I had the time to slowly take it out. It takes a while because of the potions, but it seems like it's going well. Obviously, I can't poison him because he's already asleep until it wakes up and destroys me with a reversal. Ouch! totally did not saw my life flash before my eyes. At least after the gym, we have a moment of respite by fighting the two Team Aqua grunts in the museum. Here, Sludge is very good, so much so that it can one-shot the two piranhas. Gulpin's move pool never stops to surprise me, since for some reason it can't learn Thief, but it doesn't really matter since we have better options. After the two grunts have been defeated, we have to stand here listening to Archie trying to sell us an MLM or something like that. Going back to something more interesting, the May 2 fight is a lot harder than the previous ones against her. This time she does not have Torkoal, but her Mudkip evolved and now resists Sludge. Sure, it's weaker to Bullet Seed, but that move is so not reliable, and it can do a lot of damage to us with ground moves. For some reason, it does not finish Gulpin off, so I'm able to defeat the rest of her team. Watson is another hard fight. I had to learn rollout over bullet speed since the Magneton resists it and it is immune to Sludge. For the gym fight, I wanted to remove the Voltorb ASAP since he could paralyze me and that would be bad. Watson also wastes a potion on it before I can finally take it out with a poison. Against the Electrike, I am going to use a couple of amnesias so that the Magneton and the Manectric will not hit me as hard, and then I can start rolling. I was hoping that the Magneton would die in 2 hits from rollout so that I could use the last one for the Manectric, but that was not the case, so I had to use Sludge for his last Pokemon. Ultimately, I can get the win, but it was very close again. The next important fight is when we have to stop Maxi from making a volcano erupt. He is the reason for the first loss because of an earthquake in disguise. In the second attempt, I changed strategy a little bit because I put the Mightyena to sleep and only then I start rolling. Of course, he manages to get a sand attack on me and it did end up mattering since I miss rollout, so I have to start it again. I had to even use Yawn a second time, and I get some deja vu since these few turns were the same as the first ones. Eventually, I can take out the Mightyena and proceed with the rest of the team. Here, Sendetex comes back to haunt me since I missed the last hit, so for the third time in this fight, I have to use Rollout. Camerupt decides to spare me since it could have defeated me 3 times with Magnitude. I was going to criticize the people of Lava Ridge for making a town so close to an active volcano, but then I remembered that Naples is a thing, so I can't really judge. Flannery defeated me once too, but it was a lame attract death. Not sure who would be attracted to a half-full garbage bag, but okay. This is a no judgment video. Like for Watson, I use Amnesia to lower their damage and put her to sleep. I use Sludge Bombs to take out her lead so that the rollout hits would line up better. Those amnesias from a second ago proved useful to take low damage. I'm starting to think that the NPCs took pity on Gulpin since the Camerupt spared me too. Torkoal dies to a rollout 4, so we got half of the badges in the region. Up next is the fight against our dad and his normal types. He was harder than I thought, and as usual the slacking can put me 6 feet under with a facade. But the rest of the team was also dangerous. Since Sludge Bomb is not enough for Spinda, you know what it does to us. Thankfully, this time I don't hit myself and can proceed with most of my HP intact. His Pokémons are able to chunk me down quite a bit, but at least the Linoon holds his HP for me. I think Slacking can one-shot me anyway, so I have to hope for some decent luck. Not sure why I used Amnesia, maybe for the Fate attacks. From here I can start spamming Slash Bomb to slowly lower his HP. Since he has a lot of health, it takes a while, but at least I don't get a poison just before it falls asleep from yawn, like it happened in one of the losses. Eventually, after a bunch of turns, I can finish the slacking and earn the next badge. This time I defeated as many trainers as I could because the fluctuating growth at this point is the slowest one, so I need all the XP I can find to level up a few times. The fight against May after the Weather Institute turned out to be kinda hard, to be honest. Once again, the problem is Marshtomp. He resists all my moves, so defeating him is not as easy, and he can do a lot of damage back to me. With a bit of good luck on my side, I can finish him, and her last Pokemon can't do much, so that's a win. Up next is the fight against Winona and her birds. For her, I have Rollout, who I'm starting to realize is a decent move. I did not start it immediately because I was worried about a possible Perish Song, and a crit against Altaria saves me because a +2 Earthquake would probably destroy me. While Rollout keeps going, we can do good damage and defeat her Pokémons even if they are quite tanky. Pelipper, as usual, does not want to cooperate, so he just spams Protect until we finish him. Once we know a crash lands, we have to explore more of the region and sooner or later arrive in Lilycove, where we can take on May one more time. I could have picked up the Giga Train TM before this fight and used it against the Marshtomp, but I wanted to give her a chance to beat me, since she has spared me earlier in the run. That's how I returned the favor. Even with this handicap, the fight is somewhat easy. She does good damage to me, but nowhere near enough to take me down. After defeating her, I can go to Route 123 and get Giga Drain from the Saint Celestine here. Next, we have to fight Maxi again, soon after he awakens Drogon. I lost once against him because of Earthquake, but the second attempt is a bit smoother. I use Yawn to put the Mightyena to sleep so that he does not mess with me too much, and then I can start another rollout. It takes a while to get started because of the Intimidate, so I have to use 4 stages for the Mightyena. Thankfully for me, he then switches Camerupt in, who dies to the last hit. Crobat is a bit painful since he confuses me with Confusory. At least if it was Swagger, it could have offset the attack drop from Intimidate. So this takes a while, but eventually I can win. Now it's time for what I thought would be hell. Tate and Liza is a 1v2 fight where they are super effective on me. Somehow I only lost twice to them, but I had to abuse sleep a bit. I have to yawn the Claydol first, since it is the one who can do the most damage. Once they are both sleepy, I have to use a couple of amnesias, since the rest of their team is mostly made of special attackers. It's finally time to deploy Giga Drain, and while the damage is not the best, it's still better than nothing. Claydol wakes up too soon and almost downs me. At this point, it's not looking very good for me. I need some very good luck, and weird enough, it does happen. I can defeat the Lunatone on the second turn, skipping the potions, and then Xato wakes up and chunks me pretty bad. I hoped the Soul Rock would be a one-shot, but that's not the case. and with the bird at plus 2 or 3, he's a massive threat. By some miracle, just one sludge bomb is enough to take it out, and the next turn I can finish the fight in my favor. Well, that was lucky, but I'll take it. Let's move on to the other double fight of the run. This one could be bad because they have two mighty hyenas and two camerats, but we are also not alone, and as we saw in some other videos, Steven can be very helpful. Yeah, I forgot to recharge my PP once again. Yay. The fight is quite long. Because of the intimidate and the resist, I can't do all that much damage and definitely cannot one-shot their Pokémons. There is not a whole lot else to say about the fight. We can slowly but surely defeat their Pokémons to earn the win. I am going to anticipate now that I might have to change my upload schedule to another day or something. I am not sure. I'll have to see how real life goes. I am going to try to not miss an upload, but I can't guarantee it. Anyway, getting back to something more fun. The next fight is against Archie near where Kyogre is. Since he does not have a Camerupt, this is going to be a bit easier than the fights against Maxi. During the fight, I spammed Sludge Bomb, but I'm not sure if that or Giga Drain would do more damage. Crobat confuses me again as usual, so we have to spend some time hitting ourselves. Once I can get through, I use Yawn, so hopefully he does not confuse me again. After a while we snap out of it, and with a couple of sludge bombs, Crobat eventually goes down. For his last Pokemon, I can use Giga Drain to one-shot it, but it was very close because of a crit. And with that, we are done with the evil teams. So far, Gulpin is doing quite well. Even if his offensive stats are not very high, I don't feel like we are lacking damage. On the defensive side, I'm not as impressed though. We are taking a lot of damage from some Pokémons that are not very strong. After we save the world again by waking up Rayquaza, we have to face the last gym leader of the region. Juan wasn't that bad. Like in the Spoink video, even if we have a super effective move, the stab one still does more damage just because of the higher base power. So we are going to use Sludge Bomb for most of his team. Kingdra does not troll me, but the Celio that comes out next does, because it gets a confusion with water pools. So we hit ourselves in confusion a few times before we can proceed. Or not, since he has a potion left. So yeah, we have to sit here for a while more. At least we can one-shot his last Pokemon with Giga Drain. With the last gym leader finally defeated, we have to make our way to the league. Along the way, we meet Wally in Victory Road for the last fight before the Elite Four. Once again, the main problem is the Magneton, since he is immune to Sludge Bomb and resists Grass. The rest of his team is not a huge problem. It still takes a while because of the potions and the fact that I want to use an amnesia or two since most of his team is special. He sends out Gardevoir second, which is unusual, but it's fine. Delcatty is an easy one-shot with a Sludge Bomb. Magneton, luckily for me, is a 3-shot with the Giga Drain by skipping the potion range. We also traded status in the first turn, but it ultimately did not end up mattering. Eventually, Magneton dies, and the Roselia is easy with the Sludge Bomb. Well, it took a while, but we are finally able to start the league. First off is Sidney, and he is not that bad. As usual, the intimidate is annoying, and of course, I put him to sleep so he does not confuse me or lower my accuracy. Makiena is probably his best Pokemon, since we are super effective on the two grass ones and have Giga Drain for Crodant. The Absol could also be a problem now that I think about it, but as long as we don't let him set up too much, we should be fine. Unfortunately, we barely can't finish him in 2 hits, so Sidney can use a full restore to prolong the fight for a little, but we ultimately can take it down with 2 more sludge bombs. Phoebe is next, and she was actually kinda hard because I don't have enough damage to one-shot her lead, so the Dusclops can use Curse and slowly defeat me. After a couple of attempts, he goes for Protect instead, so I can move on to the rest of the team without needing an exorcism. I should mention that I used the Shadow Ball TM for her, since Poison is resisted by Ghost types, so Sludge Bomb would not have enough damage to defeat them. They hit me a couple of times along the way, but without of course lowering my HP every turn, it's not so bad, and we can easily defeat her after a full restore. Phoebe was a surprise, and I only won because she played badly. And it turns out that Glacia is pretty much the same. Her Glalie loves to blow up and does an absurd amount of damage. In both cases, I was slowed by the first Glalie, so the second one could outspeed me. The rest of her team is not easy either, as they have a lot of HP, so I can't one-shot them. I risked it by using a citrus berry instead of a cherry berry, because I thought that the extra HP could help more. I can't stop the hail from going up, so my HP gets slowly drained down. But if I need, I can always use Giga Drain against one of her water types to recover quite a bit. Since this time I'm able to outspeed the Glalie, it does not blow up because I can defeat it before it has the chance to. Once the last Glalie goes down, Glacia sends out her ace Walrein. Here I used Giga Drain since my HP was kinda low and did not want to fail because of a crit that of course arrives as expected. With Glacia defeated, we have only one obstacle before the champion. As I mentioned at the start of the run, Gulpin can learn Ice Beam, and so I teach it to him, hoping to make the fight easy. But instead, I die in every possible way. The RNG is making me pay for the good luck at the start of the run. In the successful attempt, I could have used Amnesia, but I got rock tombed once, so I'm not going to risk it, and just spam Ice Beam over and over. Flygon outspeeds me and does a lot of damage. Kingdra could BS me with evasion, but I get the crit, so problem solved. Salamence is able to outspeed me, but without a crit I can survive and take it out with one last Ice Beam. We are so close to the end that I can smell the victory, or maybe it's Gulpin's stench. Wallace learned from Drake and also took me out with crits and such. Anyway, I want to set up a few amnesias so that their special moves would not hurt as much. Wailord uses Rain Dance, which is not good for me because it increases their damage and also makes the Ludicolo faster since it has Swift Swim. I tried to stall it, but Walrein did too much damage. I also swapped out Ice Beam for Shockwave because it would be a bit more useful against the Tentacle and the Gyarados, but somehow the Sea Serpent leaves a hit even if it's 4 times super effective, so I get bonked by a big Hyper Beam. It's fine though. When the Wishcast comes out, I can one-shot him with Giga Drain and restore a lot of HP. Or not. What the heck is going on? If that was not enough, now that he used Amnesia, I can't even two-shot him. Thankfully, I get a crit before he can destroy me with Earthquake. Next is a Tentacruel, and since he is a special tank, my Shockwave does not do much damage, but he can't do much to me either. After a while, I can finish him, and then he sends out Ludicolo. So, I'm super effective and rip that guy. Or not again. That Intimidate is doing some heavy lifting. Wallace spams all of his full restores, but at least since he sent out his Pokémons in a weird way, the rain has stopped and Ludicolo is low. Milotic is not crazy strong, but I used a Giga Drain because I had the sneaking suspicion that I'll get crit and I don't want to redo Wallace all over again. And would you look at that? My prediction was correct and I survived on just 3 HP. Well, this run was a roller coaster of emotions. Overall, Gulpin was not that bad, and I hope you enjoyed his journey through Pokemon Emerald. Remember to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and also feel free to leave a comment down below. Would love some feedback. See you next week. Bye!